Yes, Supriya?
My enemy has the ring, and I have no other way to go, and I know my life is going downhill from there. I try to steal it.
You try to steal it.
I know my life is going downhill.
Okay.
So, what else can I do?
We have a good range of issues here. Yes.
I think it's really interesting that how different the responses are. Because in the beginning, it's like, oh, you know, I'll use it for a little while, I'll do some good, maybe I'll get really rich, I'll take it out of all my enemies, I'll become a vigilante. But then when like the shoe's on the other foot, we're like, well, that's not really right. It's morally incomprehensible. Like, why would someone want to do this to me? I'm a good person, and I think what's kind of the moral of the story is like when people are sort of possessed with power. And we look at them turning from, you know, seemingly good people into corrupt people. I mean, how do we sort of reckon that with ourselves and decide, you know, is it good to be a good person and then become, you know, this powerful person and then potentially use your power for evil, even if it's unintended. So I mean, is it really any of our choices to decide who's our enemy, who's not, and who deserves to live?
You're becoming a philosopher. You're asking the questions, you're analyzing, you're looking at the variety of responses. It's precisely what this is meant to do. This is precisely what Plato had in mind when he challenged his listeners with this dialogue between Socrates and Glaucon. Any other solutions? I'm surprised one or two solutions that not come out, that almost universally come out. What would be some other solutions?
Your enemy had it?
Yes, if your enemy has it.
I just try to survive and then come back on. But I mean, really just you have an enemy that really needs you that badly.
What did you do to that person?
Yeah,
It's the injustice of it, though. There's always injustice in this world. Okay.
I don't know, I just can't wrap my brain around taking someone off to the point where they really want to take my life.
Okay.
Does the person ever turn the ring back around? Or is the person invisible all the time? Can you get
Could
together
be
like
invisible all the time.
you get like a Hunchback of Notre Dame like gang together, go track the guy down,
What's sad like?
demand the ring?
Wouldn't that be sad? If you were
Okay.
just sitting, I mean, if you were invisible the whole time, like, I would want to, like, when we were talking about how the women would want to hear each other, or like what people say, I would want to know if you really need, I mean, if you like me, you like me, if you don't, you don't, I really don't care, like, either way. And so, why, I think it would be very lonely and sad, and that would make you a very depressed person who really just want to climb in that cave and die. And,
Okay. You.
That's kind of going back to the thought of the invisible power. Like, you're invisible. You don't. I mean, yes, you have a certain extent of power, but what type of power do you really have, other than more power that can come from being a person in society?
What do you think of that? What do you think of the realization that maybe this ring is not all powerful? Because what's the one thing you cannot command?
It's actually the human will. Make a slave of my body, but not my mind.
You cannot command the will. You don't have the power to command other people's wills.
Well, say that he's got it, it says for himself. His will is not for him. And so that power, he's never going to have an answer.
That's right. Yes.
What I'm wondering is why the guy wearing the ring is dead. He had the ring and he was all powerful. And if he's not this totally ancient corpse god, clearly something happened where he died.
It's the willing suspension of disbelief to get the story going. We don't know. It's an interesting question. But you're really onto something here, because you've turned the corner in this story. And I think you see that it is okay to question my premise. I keep telling you this guy has all this power. And now you're starting to suspect, wait a second, he really doesn't have power. He has force, but he does not have friendship. He is going to be alone, isolated, alienated. He cannot command people to like him or to love him. Now, if he's wired like every human being typically is, you need to be liked to a certain extent. You definitely need to be loved by somebody or something, that ring doesn't help him get any of the love that he needs. So maybe the solution to this is that Geiges has got to realize, or any of us who have an enemy that has the ring, you go to that enemy and you say, you have all this ostensible power, but you can't make anybody love you. If you really want power, give up that ring, and then you will have what at base is the most essential human need. You will have it in abundance, because we will love you for your self-sacrifice. Think of what they would be sacrificing to throw that ring into a volcano. Get rid of it. And that's the only solution, I think, to the dilemma of the Ring of Geiges. If there's a better one, I want to hear it. Some groups will really hit the Ten Commandments, or, you've got to make sure everybody in that society is obeying the Ten Commandments. You've got to count on the afterlife to correct. We know that people who are very religious fail all the time. And let me tell you something. Every one of you in this room is going to be a leader at some point in some endeavor. People are going to be looking to you. And no matter what you resolve, you will fail them at some point. You will fall short of your ideals. You will fall short of your mentor's ideals. You will have maybe a little too much power for your own good, and you will overstep your bounds. Maybe it'll be just an impatient remark. Maybe it'll be a slight that's a little bit hidden. But you will fail as leaders. And you need to understand that leadership ultimately comes down to a relationship. You won't be a leader who's respected unless you can inspire, earn a respect, and even a kind of love from the people that you would like to lead. And if you look at the great leaders in history, I'm not talking about the Attila the Huns. I'm not talking about Stalin. I'm not talking about Hitler. I'm not talking about people who lead by fear. They just have power and they make people feel like slaves. They have to do the bidding of the leader. But if democracy is built on the premise that we require a different kind of leader, we require a leadership that requires self-discipline and respect, and yes, even love. And so I hope that this exercise about the Ring of Geiges gives you something to think about what kind of leader you are, and what kind of person you are in the face of other people who have power over you. Do you have an opportunity to teach them that there really are limits to their power? Do they have an opportunity to teach you, if you're the powerful one, that there are limits to your own? And it really comes down, leadership really comes down to that relationship and the trust and the affection and even the love that you earn with others.
I think I'd like just to add to that, there's a principle in the College of Ed that it goes right along with what you're saying. I know it's for teaching, but I think it goes with leadership too. Yeah, they always say that kids won't care to know until they know you care.
Exactly.
And it's all about building relationships, and it's not becoming friends with your students or friends with people that you lead, but it's building a relationship so they know that you're sincere and that you're there for them and you're honest and all the good things, and then they're willing to work with you. But until then, you're just a leader, or you're just a teacher in front. So I mean, it's important to build, like you're saying, those relationships.
Dan has a great expression that you guys have hang around the Hauenstein Center have heard me say this before. People don't care what you know until they know you care. That's exactly right. That is a great thing to keep in mind as you're in formation now in these years, intellectual formation and moral formation, to become leaders in your professions and your lives. Any other questions or comments at this point? Or are we all hungry?